first guest, starting her acting career at the age of 13, this Toronto native made numerous appearances on Canadian television and appeared in her first feature film in 2006 with co-star Jeff Daniels. Most recently, you've seen her on the reimagined V TV series, but we also know her as Kal-El's Kryptonian cousin Kara. Say that 3 times fast. Here she is, everybody, Laura Vandervoort. Okay, coming up next, our next guest, a Glenview, Illinois native who attended the prestigious Juilliard School of Drama before moving to LA to start his acting career. His genre resume is really pretty impressive, co-starring on Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek Enterprise, and Star Trek New Voyages. And he got to live out a fanboy dream by appearing in the Star Wars multimedia project, The Force Unleashed. Yeah, oh yeah, and be sure to ask him about the crash tones. Ladies and gentlemen, Doomsday comes to Metropolis. Here's Sam Witwer. Okay, so first question, guys. Is it hot enough for you? Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes, no.
So, this is your first trip to Metropolis. Metropolis, Illinois, anyway. You've enjoyed it so far. You've got a chance to meet the fans, see the town a little bit. What do you think?
Cool. A lot of people here, huh? I mean, how many people are at this?
We get upwards of 30,000 when we have a good year, and I think this is a pretty good year, so, and I think they're all crammed in this tent right now, actually.
We appreciate you guys coming out. I know it's hot.
Thank you very much, guys. That's awesome.
Hi, thanks for being here. I think everyone's wondering, any chance that either or both of you might make it back for a guest appearance this year? It is possible.
They're conferring.
So what are we allowed to say?
They have to call the lawyer to see what they can and cannot talk about.
So maybe we don't care. Make sure you video this.
No comment.
Very nice. Okay, who's next? Actually, right next to you there, right in front of you, the gentleman with his hand up. There we go.
Yeah, this is for Sam. Can you please tell us anything about The Force Unleashed 2?
Yeah, I can. Actually, if you guys go to gametrailers.com or lucasarts.com, it's kind of all over the web. There's a new trailer we put out yesterday. But yeah, it's really cool. The story, the character is a little bit more ragged this time around. The combat's a little bit more over the top. The story is fantastic, and you learn a little bit more about Vader and all that cool stuff. I haven't consulted with LucasArts to know what I'm allowed to say or not, so I think I'll just kind of leave it at it's awesome. I'll leave it. It's awesome.
So is being part of that Star Wars experiences and everything you ever hoped it would be?
Big time. Yeah. In fact, the trailer we just put out. Because generally we would do a lot of video reference where they would just put a video camera on me and I would do some stuff, and that's how they would figure out how the character moves. For the facial stuff, we do motion capture, but for the recent trailer we put out, I'm motion capturing the entire thing. I got to do lightsaber stuff, and it was awesome. It was really fun.
Did you get to keep your lightsaber?
They gave me a bunch of cool Star Wars stuff, including lightsabers. I mean, it's the coolest thing is you're working at Lucasfilm, right? So we're shooting this, and I was waving a microphone around to be my lightsaber because they're going to put it all in later, right? So I'm waving this microphone around, and at one point the director goes, go downstairs and get a lightsaber. I'm like, what? And they come back with a lightsaber, and I'm like, okay, sure. It's Lucasfilm. I guess they have these around. It's very strange.
I think it's part of the employee package. When you sign up, you actually get one. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
My question is, how did you both prepare for your roles? And mostly, because I know you both had to play kind of 2 different roles. You had to play Kara, and then you had to play the Kryptonian, and then, of course, you had to play David, and also play the good side David, good side bad David, and also Doomsday. So, how'd you guys pull it off?
Well, I just did some harness training at the very beginning of the show. I couldn't really prepare to be Supergirl. I read the comic books. When I first got the role, they had me doing green screen and just learning how to be in a harness and fly. I did pretty much most of my own flying in the show because I love doing it. My stunt girl hated me for it, but you know, not much to prepare. Just was kind of thrown into it actually when I was cast. I think it was like a week turnaround, and I was on camera with Tom, googly-eyed. You know, so I just learned as I went, and also Kara slowly became my own. Originally, the producers had a very specific feel for Kara. The short shorts, you know, a very specific look. And then eventually she developed into more of who I think I was, with a mixture of Supergirl. She was strong, independent. She started wearing more clothes. I really enjoyed playing her, so I appreciate you guys watching, I really do. But really with the training, it was just the physical training, and the acting just kind of came with the show as we went along.
For me, I read the comic books, and then as soon as the script started coming out, realized that there's not much use there because we were doing something totally different, which was scary because it's like, what if you guys don't like it? You know, in fact, the reaction to they're doing this human side of Doomsday was very negative until we started airing. When they started airing and people saw what we were doing, they liked it right away. But before that, we were getting some pretty nasty messages. And so, you know, as an actor, they pitched Davis to me as a good guy who is in a terrible situation, so I just tried to play him as nice a person as I could under those awful circumstances. So that was my plan.
Now, Laura, had you done effects work and anything before?
Oh boy, no, green screen was brand new to me, and since Smallville and now on V, it's all I know. All of my mothership on V, everything we do is green screen, and then the harnessing work was obviously brand new. It's all new to me, the sci-fi world for Smallville, but since then I think I've become a pro at it.
Excellent, and you do a great job at it, by the way. Next question.
I wanted to know what it was like playing Tom Willen's cousin and just being able to see him every day.
I didn't mind going into work. You know, I've told this story before, I think, but when I first met Tom, we had a scene together in the kitchen that we had to do. And he just meets me for the first time, and I think it was a line where he says, "Oh, that makes you my cousin." And in rehearsal, he was joking around, because we were standing very close, and then when he said, "You're my cousin," he took a step backwards, like, you know, "Oh, I can't be this close to you." And we were just having fun with the fact that, you know, it was a little awkward. It's too bad he's my cousin.
And Sam, I want to know what was it like having to play his enemy, playing Doomsday?
Well, Tom's about 7'2". I'm used to going on sets and being one of the taller guys. I'm 6'1", so I'm not giant, but I'm pretty tall, I guess, 6'1". And you arrive on Smallville, and have you noticed everyone is just a giant on that set? Like Justin Hartley's like 6'3", Tom Welling's like 6'5". The girls are tall.
The heels.
It's yeah.
Tom wears heels, that's what I'm saying. I'm kidding.
In fact, when I met him, I walked on the set, and I don't know if he knew who I was, and I was like, "Hey, you're the super guy? Yeah? Yeah, I kill you." And he goes, "Oh, someone has to." So that was my intro to Tom.
So do they have a sign outside on the soundstage? You must be at least this tall to be on Smallville. Is that right?
Honestly, I was the short guy on Smallville at 6'1".
Yeah, welcome to my world. Okay, let's go to the question.
Were you in the Doomsday suit?
It's always the kids, isn't it?
No, dude, I wasn't. The cool thing about the Doomsday suit is I could be sitting around playing video games, and yet my presence is still felt on the set. I showed up for once. I think there was an episode, it might have even been, it was a big Doomsday episode. It was huge. I showed up for all of 4 hours of that episode in terms of work. So I showed up and played a scene for the first time that we see the creature, like I transform.
Right.
And I play the, oh God, I'm turning, oh no. And then that's it for me. And the rest of the episode, he's in it And so I have all these people coming up, they're like, that was so great, man, that's such a great episode, oh my god, you were awesome in that. And I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. The answer to that is Doomsday in the comic book is like 8 foot wide and 10 feet tall, and I'm only 6'1", short. So.
Question, do you guys think that Clark's finally gonna fly in season 10?
If I have anything to do with it, he will.
Kara, just take him up and drop him.
I tried to do that at season 7. There was a scene where we're in the loft. I don't know if you guys remember it.
Yes.
Okay. We were teaching him to fly, and when we were rehearsing it, it was just basically a scene where I'm standing behind him telling him how to do it. And during the rehearsal, Tom and I were joking, and I kind of pushed him. And the director loved that, so they had that, I think they might have taken it out, but there's a shot of me pushing his elbows, and it's always fun because we get to add our own little humor to it, but I know how much everybody wants him to fly. I'm telling you, I'm trying. If I'm ever back on the show, I will try, so.
Now, we're shooting television. Now, granted, it's a pretty expensive show. It's not like a sitcom where they bang it out real quick and everything. But you still, production schedule, you guys got to get in and get out and move on to the next shot. But how much input did you guys have when you were on the set to be able to kind of tweak things and make it your own?
Quite a bit, actually. How did that work? Basically, they kind of came to me for the Doomsday role, which that was a big deal for me because I knew that I could get away with being a jerk. Okay? No, the minute I could change things here and there. I mean, I would sometimes write to them and say, well, shouldn't we do this instead? I think at one point they had my character, after he started having powers and stuff, they had him chloroformed, and I'm like, no, can't he just like hit him over the head with a pipe or something? And they're like, oh, that's great, boom, you know? And yeah, so, and I would change things here and there on the set, and they would tolerate it. It's funny because the producers, you know, one would come up to me and say, hey, you're doing a great job, just keep doing what you're doing, we're really happy with it. And then the other producer would come in and say, hey, you're doing a great job, could you stick to the script a little bit? Thanks. So I took some liberties, and they seemed okay with it.
Yeah, and for myself, with you know, I really didn't have a lot of say for the beginning of the series because they were very specific about Supergirl and how she came across. I remember my first day in the trailer in the full uniform, like our lovely lady here is wearing, and 5 producers came in, stood around me, circled me, and looked me up and down to make sure that I was what they wanted people to see as Supergirl. So that was intimidating, but eventually I got more say and put a bit of my own personality into her. But with dialogue and things like that, they really don't allow you to stray too much because it is very specific for the fans.
Either of you interested in getting in behind the scenes on doing stuff? Doing any writing, directing, anything like that?
Eventually, yeah. I need a bit more experienced tailing directors, but yeah.
It's kind of like getting paid to go to school, though, right? To be on the set and watch what happens. I mean, it worked out okay for Tom, right? So
yeah.
Tom's a great director.
How about you?
I would love to be a writer.
Yeah.
Or producer. I love being behind the camera, almost more than in front sometimes. It's a little easier, but I've always enjoyed writing. So I'd love to actually have a few films that I'd like to write. One that I've written that people are looking at. So fingers crossed for that.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, back up.
So this is for Sam. I was wondering, since you weren't, obviously you weren't the guy in the suit. How did you feel about, the big fight at the end of season 8? Did you feel like that was satisfying for your character, considering you didn't really get to do much with that?
Well, I mean, satisfying because I was collecting a full paycheck no matter what I did. So, are you asking like, what did I think of it? I mean, what do you? Oh, yeah, I don't mind not doing anything good. I really don't. I'm okay with that. So, the thing, the guy Dario who was in the suit, he's a great guy. He was really cool, and because that's the thing. Okay, stunts on any kind of set. If you do a move or something like that, you do a fall. Let's say even in the mist, something as simple as like Bill Sadler hits me in the back of the head and I hit the ground. you do that 5 times, you're like, yeah, it's cool. And you're trying to hit the ground hard because you're trying to make it look good. Then you do it 5 more times, you're like, cool. You do it 5 more times, fine. But then around the 16th time, it really starts to hurt. I mean, really. You know, they're like, are you sure you don't want pads? No, I'm fine. 16 takes later, you're like, oh. And even the simplest, you know, it's like it's getting hit in the same spot over and over again. After a while, there's a threshold and everything starts to hurt in that area. So, I love doing stunts, I love doing all that stuff, but, you know, if someone wants to get in a big, hot suit, sweat, and have contacts and do it for me, sure. Yeah.
What do you think about the fighting and stuff, though? You know, the real muy macho getting in there and slugfest and all that sort of stuff. You enjoy that type of stuff, or?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, if it was more of a slugfest, I'd say I'd be like jealous, but it was more like people on wires getting thrown and stuff, which is fun. I mean, I've done a little bit of that, but you know, between that and being Indiana Jones, I'll take Indiana Jones.
Now, stunt work, you had said that, you know, the wires and all that, you got pretty good at that, but how about some of the fighting and things like that? I mean, you did a little damage, right?
I did a movie called Damage with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You sure did.
Yeah, I just plugged that. That had fighting. I didn't do it, but it was in there. But with the harnessing work on Smallville, because of the form my outfit was in, it was very small. They had to create a brand new harness that had never been used before for stunts anywhere. So instead of one solid harness, I had a bottom harness and a top harness, which would pull on different sections of my body and was a little painful. But I loved it.
Bikini harness?
It was a bikini harness, let's be honest. It really was. I had several months where I had black and blue hip bones. Pretty bad, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, I love doing stunts, and I have my 2nd degree black belt, so I love to do martial arts and fight scenes if I can.
That's the thing. If you have the chance to do stunts or not do stunts, it's always more fun to do it, and it sells it more for the audience if they see you actually do it.
And let's face it, we all want to be superheroes. We all want to do our own fight scenes. So.
Yep.
How about the little guy in the Spider-Man shirt right in front of you? He's from the enemy camp, but that's okay.
Sam.
What's up?
Is Force Unleashed on the Wii?
Yes, it comes out on the Wii and Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and I think a bunch of others as well. So, yes, sir.
PlayStation 3, I'm glad.
You have what? What's that?
PlayStation 3.
You have PlayStation 3?
Yes.
You're set, dude.
Xbox 360, PlayStation 1, and PlayStation 2.
My friend, you need nothing else in life. Why are you here?
I know you're doing a new movie, The Return of Joe Rich, and I was just wanting to know if you could give us a little bit more information about that, or release date maybe?
The Return of Joe Rich is about a Star Wars, Star Trek fan type guy, you know, Superman fan. He's a fan of all pop culture. He's a total, like, nerd guy who loses everything in the brutal economic times that we're all living in and decides his best choice is to join the mafia. So it's like, we shot it like Godfather. It looks very much like that. We actually have Talia Shire playing my mom, so we have that kind of Godfather, you know, tie-in. And she's brilliant, by the way. She's hilarious. In fact, Talia... when she arrived on the set, because this is a Coppola we're talking about, we're making a mafia movie and a Coppola arrives on the set, and she messed with me, dude. She'd just be like, she'd say something like, oh yeah, well it's kind of like that moment in Godfather 2 when that happens. And I'm like, yeah, totally. It was Godfather 3, you don't get it. But after we started working together, she was totally awesome. And Armando Sante plays my uncle, the mafia guy. And so basically picture The Godfather, but the wrong guy is in the lead. In the Marco Corleone role, instead of having Michael Corleone, they have like a Kevin Smith character, you know? So, and well, it's like when William Shatner attacked the Gorn, right? You know, he's in the middle of a big mafia scene, so it's gonna be a wild movie. It's gonna be a very strange movie.
So is that currently in production?
Yeah, they're cutting it right now.
So their release date for that yet? Or?
I don't know when that is. They're basically just putting it together. I think we're going to go back and shoot a little bit more on it, and who knows?
What's the name of it again?
The Return of Joe Rich.
Okay, so remember that. We want to make sure to check that out when it comes out.
It was fun. By the way, another little side note about Armando Sante. that guy is the coolest, most intimidating guy in the world, right? I actually chipped his tooth during a take. There's a moment where we're having some conflict and I do this physical action, and after the take, I just see him walking around, he's like, oh yeah, chipped the tooth. I'm like, whoa. I'm so sorry, Armand, I'm so sorry. No, that was good, that was the take, man. Yeah, no, do it harder next time. It was my fault because I had my jaw here and I shouldn't have had it there, and you, do it again, that was great. That's a tough guy right there.
This is for both of you. How do you feel you, as your characters, contribute to the Smallville series? How do you contribute?
Have I helped? I mean, they definitely wanted to have Supergirl on the show, and I really think that she brought out a bit of a sense of humor in Tom and Superman. You know, she was his quirky little cousin who, you know, he had to run around. You know, she was causing trouble, and he really had to take care of her. I don't know how I contributed. I know the fans really enjoyed Kara, and I really enjoyed her. So.
That's contribution.
I don't know. I just hope that you guys were happy with what I did. I can't really say how I
She
contributed.
showed up, she was charming, you know, the things she can't say.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all those things.
That's right.
I'm kidding.
Okay, see, I see what you're saying. So I'm like, okay, if I contributed, I was on the show, I guess. Michael Rosenbaum wasn't there. They needed someone to provide a threat, and hopefully it was interesting. I mean, my whole take on the character was this was a really good guy. He was a very good person who was in a really, really bad situation and therefore was threatening to Superboy. So.
And with Kara, they just needed someone from his family, someone from his home planet to kind of teach him about his past and about his family. No one had done that yet. And it also allowed Helen Slater to come on the show as his mother. Kind of opened up another door. Well, I think both of our characters allowed for a lot more doors to be opened in storylines.
Keep it going.
I know you get involved, I guess, in a project like Smallville, and you get behind the scenes, and you see kind of, you know, the magic is revealed, you know, so to speak. Was there ever a scene that you performed that, you know, inspired you, or, you know, you realized at the moment that, like, yes, this is, you know, Supergirl, this is my character, you know, where you're just like really in the moment, or later when you saw yourself in an episode where it was like, yeah, I can kind of see, like, you know, why so many people like this show, and, you know, it's, you know, that was a magical, you know, inspiring moment.
I have these moments where I watch myself and I go, why do they hire this guy? I don't really enjoy watching myself that much. You have to, because it's part of your job, but I don't really like it. I don't really buy into that guy. I wouldn't get his autograph. Anyway. No, but you know, you learn a lot by watching it. To be fair, yeah, I think I know why people liked Davis, and it was that struggle that he was trying to do the right thing. I think that was it, maybe.
In terms of Supergirl, that's an iconic character, and when I got the role, I knew there was a lot of weight going to be on my shoulders, and they expressed that. I had a few meetings with them about how she was supposed to speak, walk, everything. They were very specific, and I knew I had big shoes to fill, or a big cape to fill, or a big whatever skirt to fill. A short skirt. You know what, I think the scene that really brought it around for me was the scene I did with Tom in the barn. It's a scene when I don't know what episode it was. I was telling him how my family was gone, I'm completely alone. It was a very nice, warm scene with Tom. And I call him Kal-El, and he finally says, Clark, and then I say, Clark. He says, he'll be my family. That was such a touching scene for me, and I felt like I was really a part of the show at that point. Because before she was very flighty, and this really brought her down to earth. She was part of the family. And then obviously, you know, doing the photo shoots for Supergirl and the Supergirl stances and seeing the dolls and all of that really made me feel great about being a part of this iconic character.
Okay, I have a question for both of you. It's kind of veering away from Smallville. I'm just curious what you guys thought about your roles in, well, for Laura, for V, and what your general feelings are towards it. And for Sam, what you thought of your time on Battlestar Galactica, and anything you might have to say about that.
Battlestar was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. What can I say about it? I learned some really bad habits on Battlestar because there's a lot of ad-libbing on that show. In fact, the executive producer said to me, okay, here's the rule. Get one as written and then say whatever you want. So just about any time you see Crashdown, he's saying whatever he wants. But it was really great. Those actors are incredible, and I keep up with them. I just saw Eddie a few months ago and had a chance to get dinner with him a few times. Really great people, really fun people, and the work was just outstanding. And because we had such creative control of our characters given to us, I always try to bring a little bit of that to each role that I do, to the dismay of the producers or the director, because, you know, like even on Smallville, you know, they had to get used to the idea that I was going to change things every now and then, but I just can't help it. Battlestar kind of taught me to really take responsibility for those things, and until such time as someone fires me for that, I'm going to keep doing it. I mean, it doesn't, you know, you can't do it as much as say Battlestar, where you're kind of going off and doing your thing, but it is fun to feel like, no, this is my role, and I know, I think I have something to contribute here, and so I'm going to give it a shot. And provided they don't tell me to completely not do it, I'm going to do it. So I have Battlestar to thank for that. And I just saw Ron Moore at Skywalker Ranch. Read into that whatever you will concerning Ron Moore. Ron Moore is the showrunner of Battlestar Galactica and the lead writer.
And you asked about V. I mean, I love being on the show. We just finished our first season. It's completely aired. I play Lisa, who's the daughter of the Queen V, Anna. It's based on the 1983 or 1984 miniseries. I don't know quite which year. I'm sure you guys might know, but
Mark Singer.
Mark Singer. And you know, it's such a great miniseries that they knew they wanted to bring it back. But it's a reincarnation, a reimagining of the show. Completely different characters, but very similar to the originals at the same time. My character Lisa was actually similar to Smallville. I don't know if you guys know, I was just a guest star. I was only supposed to do 3 episodes. And it turned into the season, and the same thing happened with V. And Lisa ended up being a really great character towards the end of the season. You discover she's the Queen's mom, that she might rebel against her own people. I really enjoyed playing it, and to be on ABC is great. But you know, Smallville was a great learning pad for me. And hopefully I'll get to return. But V is great too, so we're starting a 2nd season in August, so be sure to check that out, because I think Lisa's going to be in that a lot more.
Excellent. You live in LA and you got a band, right? You guys play out in LA, do you?
Not for a while. Work has been too busy to really play out a lot.
Yeah. So much.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. My band is a bunch of people who all have industry jobs as well. For example, one of the guys in it is a guy named Brian Taylor, who wrote and directed Crank. Another guy is a guy named Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Oh yeah. And so when we have time, we play. And it's my stuff. I wrote all the stuff. But the thing is we haven't had time. We really haven't had time. I've been trying to finish a 2nd album, but I've been in and out of town and just shooting kind of constantly for the past 2 years, so I haven't been able to get it finished.
What kind of music is it?
Thanks. What, did someone say awesome? It's awesome? I play awesome music. What?
I like awesome music.
Whatever. No, It's all over the place. There's some heavy stuff, there's some light stuff, there's some Peter Gabriel stuff, there's some System of a Down sounding stuff. So it's really all over the place, and it's not exactly for everyone. Don't let your kids read the lyrics, and that's that. You can go to cdbaby.com, and that's where they sell it. www.cdbaby.com/crashtones. And that's it.
Well, I mean, you like your personal website for stuff coming up and appearances and all that.
Yeah, I'm working on a new website right now because I've kind of let it, let alone for a while. So,
how about you? You got a web presence?
I might be the only person in the world, but I don't have Facebook or MySpace or Twitter.
Yeah, me either.
One person! I don't have any, but there are impersonators. So if I've been talking to you and I've been rude, I'm sorry.
Whoa, that wasn't you?
Actually, it's scary. A friend of mine texted me and said, I heard you don't have Facebook. I've been talking to you for a year. My friends. They obviously don't know me well. Or you just gotta be careful. But I do have a website, Vandervoort.org. Not very hard to remember. But other than that, just be careful because there are a lot of impersonators. Great fan spaces, but
So we have not been dating for a year.
Actually, this is the moment I was going to break up with you.
Oh.
And you were there, everybody.
It's all right. It's okay. I mean, if you got to get broken up with someone, Supergirl ain't a bad pick, right?
What was that movie? My Super Ex-Girlfriend?
Yeah, that's the one.
Better to have loved and lost Supergirl than never to have loved at all.
What scene for both of you do you think has made you grow the most as an actor? And 2, Sam, you look hot. You should probably take off your shirt.
We're waiting.
We can start with the first
We
one.
broke up. You can't ask me. We're done. Eddie. There was one scene that we did. In fact, it was supposed to be like 3 scenes, and we shot it as one, and then they cut it kind of together as one, where I have Justin Hartley and Aaron Ashmore, Jimmy Olsen, and the Green Arrow. Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil that for you guys. And I have them captive, and basically, I know that if Chloe doesn't get to me soon, I'm gonna have to kill one of them, or I'm gonna destroy a city block. The choice is kill one of these guys, or I'm gonna, wolf out or whatever, turn into Doomsday and destroy 5 city blocks, and hundreds of people are gonna die. So I don't want to hurt these guys, but I've got them captive, and if she doesn't get to me soon, I'm gonna have to do something. And that was a cool group of scenes, or scene, or whatever you want to call it. I thought that was tough, because you're like, wow, he's doing all this stuff, and he punches Jimmy, and he says all these awful things, but how do you play it to where you feel bad for the guy who's about to do awful things? So that was the trick.
You were great in that scene.
Oh, thank you.
My very first scene on Smallville was, I think, like 7 pages with Tom, which was already nerve-wracking enough.
That was your first scene?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was in the Clark kitchen, the Kent kitchen. Clark kitchen. I just think Clark all the time. And I was so nervous because there was so much dialogue. It was expositional. It was me talking about how I'd been in suspended animation. It went on and on and on. And this is my first day. I want to do a good job, and I didn't know if I could handle it. And you have marks when you're doing scenes. You go from this mark to this mark, and they put tape on the floor to tell you which mark is next. The floor was covered in marks. I walked around this whole room talking to, the ceiling, to the door, and he's behind me listening. That was a scene that really challenged me, and I got through it. I felt fairly good about it. Never completely satisfied, but it made me realize that I can handle things that I didn't think I could. That was the scene.
How about a hand for